Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News for this Monday, October 28. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The Cannabis Licensing Authority is working to reduce the processing time for licenses in the ganja industry. As we hear from TVJ's Usain Masters, the update came at the recent opening of a lab in St. James.
State Minister in the Agriculture Ministry, Floyd Green, says the process to grant licenses to persons who want to be in the legal ganja industry has been improved. He notes that the Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA, is seeking to have a license granted within 6 months of a request.
When we started this journey, I think we're about 10, 11 licenses early in the year. Now we're at 47 licenses that have been granted. So we're moving in the right direction. We now have an additional 12 which are on the horizon. We're just waiting on the parties to come back in. And then there are a number of conditional licenses that we want to quickly now move into the final phase.
Another area of adjustment is in the standards which should govern the sector.
If we are really going to survive in the international marketplace, our standards have to be world class. We have to see how we can continue to grow our investment in research and development. And again, I think Apollon sets the standards very high and will send a clear signal that this is where we need to go. Research, development, continue to develop our strains, continue to see the many benefits of ganja is where we have to go. And we want to encourage more investors to look at this end of the industry.
Mr. Green was speaking at the opening of a multi-million-dollar lab in St. James by Apollon Medical Formularies Jamaica, which will be able to produce oils and other ganja extracts. He argued that the opening of a lab will help the country to cement its space in the $66 billion legal ganja industry. Usain Masters, TVJ News.
Chairman of the Police Federation, Sergeant Patre Rose, says the Police High Command has instructed Tax Administration Jamaica not to accept payment from persons who want to use the express service for police records. Opposition spokesman on national security Fitz Jackson yesterday complained that persons are paying for the service but not receiving the police record on time. Mr. Jackson demanded reimbursement. Sergeant Rose says some of the individuals paid for the service before the directive was issued.
Even though the CRO has announced that they're only offering 5-day and 21-day service, there are people turning up at the office with next-day service. And when that happens, the office really have to overextend themselves to facilitate those persons, right? Tax office was instructed to not sell those express receipts. But I suspect that these persons had the ticket, the receipt for some time ago. But when these persons show up, these persons have to be given priority treatment.
Sergeant Rose says priority is being given to persons in custody. Mr. Jackson said that the disruption in operations at the Criminal Records Office has resulted in overcrowding at police lockups. The St. Elizabeth Police have intensified their search for 2 men who engaged them in a shootout yesterday before escaping into bushes in the Luana area. Head of the division, Superintendent Samuel Morgan, said about 11 o'clock, a team responded to reports of armed men traveling in a motor car. The lawmen later intercepted the vehicle near the Luana housing scheme. 2 men engaged the police in a shootout before escaping. It's not clear if any of the gunmen were injured, but police personnel were unharmed. Indicom is investigating. There's a push to have clerks of court work more closely with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. With the new system, clerks of court would focus on prosecuting cases and would no longer carry out administrative duties. The UK Department for International Development is prepared to fund the initiative.
If Cabinet approves the business plan for unification that is being worked up, we will consider very strongly supporting its implementation with a long-term financial aid package with your government. And I've got good news, Minister, that... Well, wait 1 minute, because I have very good news that only last week our ministers agreed the next 5 years of assistance in Jamaica. So we can If this work progresses, make that commitment and work with you through its implementation.
One of the country's senior crime officials is taking issue with the corrupt label used to describe the police force. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the National Lay Magistrates Association in St. Elizabeth, ACP Fitzbailey says there is no data to support the narrative.
On average, we clear up over 55% of homicide. No other country in the world achieved that. In fact, to clear up over 600 murders per year is incomparable to any other countries.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is bemoaning the deplorable state of police stations across the island. Questions have been raised about the lack of proper maintenance of the facilities. The Spanish Town and Savannah Lamar stations were highlighted as the worst.
If you walk into Salmasi and look at the conditions, to ask the men to work under those conditions is absolutely disgraceful. The CIB, which is the most, I would say the more important about it, is central to resolving criminal matters, and Salmar, one of the highest murder rate in the island. They operate on an old veranda, a wooden veranda, so there are a lot of holes in the wood because it's over 100 years old. And the desks have to be placed on this, that not breaking apart, and when you walk over the holes. And they are apt to solve over 100 murders a year.
Dr. Chang says the Spanish Town station will be refurbished. Ground is expected to be broken by year-end for the construction of the Savannah Lamar station. Those stations will be part of a $195 million renovation project on 14 police stations across 6 parishes. And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us. More stories right after these messages. Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. President of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, JCSA, O'Neill Grant, has raised concerns about the lack of high-value jobs in Jamaica. While speaking this morning on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program, Mr. Grant explained that it has a negative impact on economic growth.
Persons below age 35 need to earn a minimum of $1.5 million yearly to live comfortably. That's the belief of President of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, JCSA, O'Neill Grant. It has been argued that many millennials with degrees lack job security and have been struggling to survive in low-paying jobs. They have also been unable to get jobs in the areas they are trained. Mr. Grant says the problem is the lack of higher-value jobs in the society.
We do a lot of jobs in the hotel industry. We do a lot of jobs in other types of non-manufacturing type sectors. The bauxite sector that used to employ a lot of persons who are leaving school with degrees in engineering and so forth, that's no longer there. And you hear the uproar that has now been caused coming out of Gisco Alpard. And this is something that we have been seeing creeping for a long time, that we have not just been adding high-value jobs to our economy. And as a result of that, the jobs that we are attracting to the economy are low-value jobs.
Earlier this month, Bank of Jamaica Governor Richard Biles said many of the jobs currently being created in the Jamaican economy are comparable to the same low-value added ones produced 2 decades ago. Mr. Biles, who was speaking against the background of anemic economic growth, suggested that the only solution to that is a better educated workforce. In the meantime, the JCSA president says the report that Jamaica's employment rate has improved has not translated to growth of the economy.
We do recognize that, yes, the employment creation that has happened is plugging a hole, but it has not resulted in any significant growth in the economy. And one would expect that if you are having this level of employment with persons spending in the economy, then there should be some amount of growth taking place in the economy, but it's not growing. And one asks oneself the question, where is this money going? If persons are being paid, if we are recording the very highest level of employment that we have had in decades, why is our economy growing at 1%, less than 2%?
Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Thousands of US dollars have been pumped into transforming the lives of young people in Augustown, St. Andrew. The announcement was made at a funeral in the community on Sunday. Youth Director of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica, Dane Fletcher, said it's part of an initiative to build youth training and mentorship centers in the community.
We have received approximately 11,000 US dollars from the Inter-American Division of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventist to aid with this exercise. And from my department, or Youth Ministries Department of the Jamaica Union Conference, we will do our part to provide the necessary financial support. I know that our administrators stand in support of the initiative.
Pastor Fletcher indicated that he has already identified a location for the project.
There is a facility at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Augustown, which is in need of repairs, and the proposal was made so as to transform it to be one of such centers of influence whereby we can do skills training, career guidance, do homework center, and even use technology as a way of helping our young people to see how they can make a positive contribution to add value to our nation.
Augustown, which recorded 0 murders in 2016, has been experiencing a flare-up of violence in recent times. A mentorship program is expected to improve the lives of several students at the University of Technology, UTech. The civil engineering firm M&M Jamaica Limited has added a mentorship component to its scholarship program. 9 students were awarded scholarships valued at $12 million at the launch. Director at M&M Limited, Richard Mullings, said the initiative aligns with the company's overall goal of impacting Jamaica through various outreach ventures.
We believe that intervention at the youth level is important for national development. Providing simple opportunities now can lead to great future success. And those things redound for the benefit of us all. Ms. Webb had explained that the mentorship program is intended to connect aspiring youth with individuals who can impart guidance, knowledge, motivation, and care.
We have these our young people. We must do whatever we can, as Richard said, to ensure that this country have a future.
Over the years, M&M has sponsored students pursuing mathematics, building and construction engineering, or similar degrees at UTech. The scope was widened this year to students studying nursing, pharmaceuticals, as well as hospitality and tourism management. And in sports, double sprint world record holder Usain Bolt was on Friday bestowed with the 2019 International Humanitarian Award by the American Friends of Jamaica. The 8-time Olympic champion joined founder and chairman of the Caramed Group of Companies, Glenford Christian, in receiving the award at the Hummingbird Gala in New York.
Bolt hung up his spikes over a year ago, but on Friday he was lauded for his contribution to Jamaica on and off the track. In presenting the award, the AFJ described Bolt and Christian as deserving icons who are affecting and inspiring change.
I think it's one of the biggest awards for me, because I've always worked to give back to my community, and it's always great to see people like seeing what you have done for a country and awarding it. It feels good to know that people have noticed the hard work that they have put in, and continue just makes me want to do more and continue pushing and doing as much as I possibly can for Jamaica and the world itself.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in delivering the keynote address at Friday's gala, stressed the important link between talent and hard work.
Goes without saying that Usain comes from very humble beginnings. Goes without saying that Usain Bolt is naturally talented. Goes without saying that Usain Bolt is gifted, blessed. But what is not often said is that Usain Bolt works very hard.
And Bolt's close friend, recording artist Christopher Martin, who performed at the event, heaped praise on the 2 awardees.
Well deserved. Well deserved. You know, both nominees and both recipients well deserved. You know, they've done so much for the country and for people of the country. It's well deserved, man. Yeah, man. And I'm happy I was here to see them receive the awards.
Apart from his superlative performances during his over 10 years at the senior level, Bolt was lauded for charity work done through the Usain Bolt Foundation, which was established in 2011. Christian was lauded for starting Cannabis Limited in 1986 with just 3 employees and growing it to the Cannabis Group, comprising 3 companies which are industry leaders in pharmaceutical manufacturing and distribution. The annual New York Gala is an opportunity for the diaspora community, supporters, and friends with an interest in Jamaica to give back to Jamaicans in the areas of education, healthcare, and economic development.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.